You know commercials, right? What kind of baby do you see in commercials? What kind of children do you see in commercials? What kind of families do you see in commercials? Usually, like if it's like nappy commercials or something baby related, you just see that mum who looks lovely. Her hair is like flowing in the wind and she's lifting up her baby like that and smiles at the little baby. And you know, everything seems all right. And if you hadn't had a baby at this point, that's kind of the image that sticks with you. I mean, of course, you know, everything's a little over the top in commercials. Everything looks like very perfect. But the other images you also get bombarded with are everywhere on the internet. Just you don't even have to look far. Probably half of your Facebook friends, whoever has kids, of course, you post the pictures of the highlights that you experience with your family, with your baby. You don't really post a picture of yourself literally after you had a rough night and first thing in the morning, the way you look, you know, with like bags under your eyes. Why would you? Of course, you want to kind of show off the good moments, but there's a good reason why. I mean, some people do it obviously for lots of likes and followers and things like that. But like for instance, with me, the first weeks of my daughter's life where it was just such a stressful, exhausting time. One day just blurred into the next. It was just all a big, massive blur. And by the time you went to bed, you were just like, oh God, I have to get up. And all of that is starting again tomorrow. And there is just no break. There is no break. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. It is non-stop. It is just, it hits you like a ton of bricks. And I think a lot of people have experienced motherhood like that. What's so misleading about these commercials, advertisement, Instagram posts is you see one type of baby. Let's just call it the textbook baby, the calm baby, the content baby, the just blissfully happy baby, the baby that you can literally, when they're just a few weeks old, take to a restaurant, take to friends, go to places with them, drive around, and the baby will not complain. Maybe when they get hungry or something. When you meet other mothers, you just, you know, you all meet in a park or something, or you meet at a friend's house with their babies. Those are the kind of babies that you see, that you think is the majority, and that before you had a baby, you think is the only kind of baby, kind of. I mean, you've always had that baby that screamed in an airplane or something, you know, when there's this couple coming in with a baby, and you just, of course, your first instinct is like, oh God, is that baby going to cry? Now that I'm in that spot of being a mum going to travel with my baby or something, I understand now how nerve-wracking that is, and you just want to make sure your baby is quiet so it doesn't disturb the other passengers, but sometimes that's impossible. So I feel sorry for if I have ever judged parents if their baby cried in the plane or in the train or in the bus or whatever public transport. I'm sorry. I understand you now. Of course, going into motherhood, I wasn't naive. I wasn't like, oh, my life is going to be just as it was before, just with a little addition. I was aware that everything's going to change and I would get less sleep and things would be different. Of course, I wasn't naive about that. However, what I didn't expect, and I think what a lot of moms don't expect, is when they don't get that kind of baby that you see everywhere around you, that you see at a friend's house, in commercials, online, whatever, but you get suddenly a high needs baby. My baby is completely a high needs baby. And a high needs baby, one, like the word already says, has high needs, lots of demands. They cry more than the average baby. They, when you put them down, they complain. They are just restless generally. They always want to be walked around in your arm. They don't sleep well. They are just not content and calm, quiet babies. When you're pregnant, or even before you're pregnant, while you're planning to have a baby for the future, you don't think that your baby might be like that. You just assume, because you're so bombarded by these images, that your baby will just be, easy. Obviously, easy, you know what I mean with easy. I don't mean that easier, that, nothing is ever an issue. What I mean with easy is, like I said before, you can travel with them without an issue. You can just literally leave the house to meet other mums with babies, no problem. But with a high needs baby, uh, that is so difficult. I mean, at the moment, with the current virus going on, you're not meeting anyone right now. But if I imagine that wouldn't be the case at the moment, and we would be able to meet, and I would join a mum's group, which on one hand would probably do really, really well for my mental health, because I don't have anybody here really around me except my husband. So on one hand, it would be really good to join a group like that. But on the other hand, just the thought, and every mum can attest to that, if you have a challenging, demanding, high needs baby, if you join a group of mothers, let's say there are 5 mums with 5 babies all the same age, and yours is the only one that's going to wriggle, that's not going to be calm at all, that will be crying even though they were fed and had everything, is constantly moaning about something, you're kind of like discouraged to even go. You're like, you know what, I'm not going to bother now. You worry that other mums will think, why doesn't she have a baby under control? I can't stress enough how motherhood is glorified and glamorized in, like, everywhere on TV, in TV shows, for instance, or films and stuff, and you see mums looking great, they've got makeup on, they just literally put the baby for a nap, the baby sleeps 2-3 hours or something, they have sleep through the night. That's like what you see all the time. So what you don't see is what I experience, and what I know for sure a lot of other mums have experienced as well, is the first weeks of absolute craziness. I'm not just talking hormones or something, or postnatal depression. I'm talking about the everyday life of your baby whining, crying, no sleep. And everyone who hasn't had a child, when they think, oh yeah, sure, as a mum, you don't sleep, that's just part of it. You don't know how it feels like to not sleep. You don't know. I mean, there's a reason why in some countries it is literally used as torture method to deprive someone of sleep. There is a different kind of tiredness that you experience that coffee and Red Bull will not fix. And I mean, of course, I'm not the first one to come forward with that. One of the number one things that mums mention is no sleep, and that tiredness that is almost impossible to explain to anyone who has not had a baby yet, especially in the first weeks where you're not getting much back from your baby. They don't smile really yet, they really just cry and eat. But if you don't have that kind of baby that you thought you would have, the one that sleeps all the time, and then they're just not all snuggled up in your arm and it's just cute. But if you have a baby that feeds not every 3 hours as a website would tell you, but every 45 minutes to every hour, that barely naps, and even when they finally sleep, it's like maybe a 30-minute little nap, then they are up again and they are crying, and then the night comes around and no, they don't sleep through the night, things like that. That's not what you see in commercials. You see happy smiling babies, you see happy mums, happy dads, everyone just freaking happy. And I mean, obviously, specifically the first weeks felt, for me at least, with my experience, like I got hit by a train. Seriously, I understand that everyone's experience is different, but what I just want to point out is it can be extremely misleading to think there is just that one kind of baby, the one that we all know from movies, from commercials, the one that makes parenthood easy. Or at least not easy but enjoyable. I understand that even if you have one of those calm, content babies, motherhood isn't easy. I understand that, but it makes it more enjoyable. To be honest, the first weeks with my daughter were not even enjoyable, because it was just this whole blur of her crying and eating and barely sleeping and more crying and fussing. And it was just never ending, non-stop conveyor belt, moving, moving, moving. And you wake up the next day and you know the whole day is starting over again, and you have good days. And suddenly you cling on to those good days, you have good moments, you're suddenly like, wow, today was a good day. But then the next day can be completely different again. It's so all over the place and volatile. She's 6 months old and it's still like very, very hit and miss. So I can't say that now that she's 6 months, she progressed to a level where every day is nice and content and calm. It's not. I sometimes compare to Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. You know, Dr. Jekyll is the good guy basically, and then we have days where she's Dr. Jekyll, and then we have days where she's her basically alter ego, Mr. Hyde, and makes our life hard. I can't stress enough how much I honestly love her, but parenthood is not so straightforward. And I was very blinded by this concept of what a baby should be like, because I saw it everywhere. I saw it online, I saw it in films ever since I grew up. I saw what a baby was supposed to be like. A baby was supposed to sleep quite well during the day, doing naps. A baby, you could literally just meet friends and put your baby in a swing, and the baby would just not fuss around and just, do their own thing. It's just so wrong. I mean, not wrong, but one-sided. And I'm very sure there's lots of women who are blessed with that kind of baby. But there's the other half of women who are not. Maybe it's even more than half. Suddenly, you are responsible for this human for the rest of your life. And in the first weeks, it felt like there was just this endless tunnel. You walk through this endless tunnel. There was no light. Not as blissful as commercials or Instagram posts or even some of your Facebook friends make it out to be. Now that she's 6 months old, she's smiling, she's laughing, she's really developed a personality. It's a bit different now, but she's definitely still very high needs. She still needs my attention so much. Honestly, just putting her down is so difficult because she's going to cry. And from people outside, they think, well, you're doing something wrong then. No, you are not doing something wrong as a mother because of your baby being very demanding. That's not your fault. We have not raised her to be like that. She was literally, from day one, a baby that would not be content easily. And it is exhausting and very frustrating when society tells you, but that's how your baby is supposed to be. Not all of them are alike. Honestly, babies are different. Their personalities are different. In the first weeks, they really don't have much of a personality to begin with. That's something they develop. But it is wrong to put motherhood in one basket and shut the lid and say, this is motherhood. That's how it should be. Commercials show you how it should be. Society tells you how it should be. People online post it all the time how it should be. They're so freaking perfect. I can't even. No, we don't wear makeup all the time and our hair isn't shiny. And coffee, my friends, coffee is not going to fix that tiredness that all of us mothers know. It's not. We just need to get away from that stigma, from that image that as a mother you should enjoy every moment with your baby. Because I'm quite frank here, especially in the first weeks, I think a lot of moms struggle enjoying every moment. It's more like you find little enjoyments here and there, especially when they start smiling at you. Nowadays, honestly, her smile and giggles and laugh, that's the thing that gets me through. But in the first weeks, where you don't even get any of that, where you don't really get a response, it's not enjoyment that much. It's really just keeping a baby alive, forming a bond, growing with your baby. but you feel sometimes utterly alone in it, and thinking something is wrong because your baby and your life is not what it is in commercials, or what the person next to you might experience because they are posting about it, and you see just pictures of them like cradling their beautiful baby and just happy and blissful smiling, and it's not your life. As they grow older, you get to enjoy them more, but it is almost impossible to enjoy every second with your baby. I know there's this whole saying about, oh, once they are older, once they're not babies anymore, you're going to miss that stage, when they were babies. But while you're in the midst of that, it's difficult. The idea that you're going to miss this, I don't believe it at this point. At this point, I'm like, I can't wait for her to be, a toddler and be walking around and talking to me. Although then a lot of parents of toddlers say, oh God, no, they are difficult. They are still difficult. So I guess it's kind of never ending, isn't it? But this whole, oh, you're just going to miss it so much when, they used to be so tiny and cute. Yes, when I see pictures when she was a newborn, oh my God, she was so tiny, she was so cute. But that did not make me forget the really, really tough weeks that followed after that. And there's absolutely no point to sugarcoat it. I'm not making this video to to scare any people of having children. Of course not. I'm not trying to put you off. I'm just being frank and honest and saying, I mean, you might experience something completely different, and you might be really lucky and have a calm baby, and you can go anywhere with that baby, and you will know that that baby will not start crying and fussing around. But if you have a high needs baby that is incredibly demanding, you people out there, your parents, you know what I'm talking about, and you know how difficult it is to leave your house because you worry every single minute. Are they going to be difficult? Are they going to start crying? Are people going to judge me? No, motherhood is not just what we see on pictures, in commercials, in films. There is not just that one kind of baby. And yes, for everyone who says, well, you signed up for that, you wanted this. When you sit there and your baby hasn't slept in ages, and your baby isn't crying, and you haven't slept in ages, and you can't calm your baby down, you have moments where you think, no, I didn't wish for this. What I thought I would be getting was a baby that I'll be able to calm down, that will just be calm. And like I said, of course I wasn't naive. I'm not completely dumb. I knew babies can be demanding and challenging, but barely ever will you see a demanding, challenging, difficult, fussy, high needs baby ever, whether in films or in commercials. You just won't, because that's not what they want to show you. But I mean, yes, like I said, it is just it is my experience and not everybody's experience. And life with a high needs baby is a whirlwind, it's a roller coaster. And you feel a little bit alone because all the other mums you're surrounded with, they don't have that. But it is real too. This too is reality. And when health visitors, doctors, websites tell you, oh, it will be fine, you'll be fine, it's not very helpful. I know there's not much that they can do. They are not miracle workers. I understand that. But when you're in the midst of all of that, sentences like, oh, it will get better, or you will be fine, or one day you'll just look back and you'll be laughing about it. When you're in the middle of it, no, you're not laughing about it. Maybe one day I will. But as I am still in the middle of it, I mean, thankfully the first 6 months are behind us, but I still feel like I'm very much in the middle of it, and she's very volatile still. I can't be laughing about it yet. I'm not laughing about it. I actually want to see a light at the end of the tunnel. And maybe I see a little glimmer. but not a light yet. No, you can enjoy your baby. You know, you can enjoy your baby and you have great moments with your baby, but that doesn't erase the fact how extremely challenging and demanding a high needs baby is. Yeah, there's just not one type of baby. Just be aware of that. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. And I'm sure there's lots of people who know what I'm talking about. And yeah, sure, I can sit here and say you'll get through it. And I'm sure you will. But I understand that it's not easy while you're in the middle of it to accept that fact. But I guess, you know, in the end, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, right? But until then, just stay strong.